Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt.
Hi, and welcome to the Stop Chasing Skinny podcast. Today we have Tanya Christopher, and she is the owner of Amorous Dance. And I just had the pleasure of taking one of her classes here in Charleston and learned so much about pole fitness. It goes way deeper than some of the ads that you might see out there. So I just had to have Tanya on the show to talk about all of these awesome benefits. So welcome to the show, and thanks for being here for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got into pole fitness. I love this story. And then we'll get into these health benefits that people may not realize.
So I took a sample class, actually, just like everyone else, for the most part. And I could not climb the pole in my sample class, and everybody else in my class climbed. And I didn't understand. I went in there so confident, and I was ready. I really thought I could just nail it, and I didn't. So, I was like, oh my, why? And so that actually stuck me in, and because it was something I could not do, and I felt muscles that I've never felt before. Took some classes, and then I actually stopped for about a year. I didn't do anything, and I was obsessed with Carmen Electra and her workout DVDs. So this is when MySpace was actually popular, and there was an ad on MySpace where they were looking for instructors here at a local studio, and I applied, got it, and I just started training as an instructor.
That's awesome.
So that's how I got started. Yeah. And then 4 years later, I started my own business, Amorous Dance, Pole and Fitness, and it's one of the number one studios here in Charleston. So I'm excited about that. And I've been open for a little over 4 years now, too.
Yeah, there's a reason you're voted the best, because I'd taken pole at a couple other places and they were good, but yours has been the best by far.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, it was great. So what made it best for me, kind of what I thought, and listeners, if you're interested in pole fitness, you want to find the right place. I felt like your class kept everybody super involved the whole time, because I was nervous about here, just take the pole and go do something with it. I felt like I got a great workout in your class, and you led us through everything.
We do our best to make everybody feel like they actually have a personal trainer in class. Even though it's a group class, we do our best to make that contact with every single person and make sure that we go into everybody's needs. And we actually have forms that people fill out ahead of time. And we ask, what are your fitness goals? What do you expect to do from this? Why did you want to do this? And we really do take all of that into consideration. We don't ignore it. It's not just a question to be on a form. So our goal is to make your goals happen.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I felt like you did that with us, and you could see where each person had more strengths and where somebody kind of struggled a little bit. And so you would kind of address that too. So speaking of fitness goals, let's go ahead and talk about that. Obviously, you are physically moving, you're going to burn calories, and that's how, pounds are lost and muscles are built and things like that. But going way beyond that, let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits that somebody is getting and may not realize they're getting from your class.
The confidence is really the main thing. Confidence is key. And I can't express that enough to everybody. Just having confidence in anything that you do, it just changes you. It changes the way that you work out. It changes the way you live your everyday life. You start focusing on things that make you happy and letting go of everything else. So just that alone, it's absolutely amazing. So I see a huge turnaround in these girls. We have 7 levels, and we do have men too, and they're in separate classes. But our main base is women. We have 7 levels, and by the time people get to level 3, I can barely even recognize them. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just the transformation just in their bodies, the way their shape has changed, their personality, their heads held higher, their jobs changed for the better. They've stood up for themselves, jumped into something that they want to do because the confidence was there. And I mean, it really does. It just changes you. There's something about this workout that it changes your whole entire life. And that's what it did for me.
I have to completely agree. So just a little story about how I first tried pole a couple of years ago. My neighbor wanted to say thank you for babysitting for her, so she took me to a class. And again, yeah, I was sucked in because I couldn't do it. I was like, oh man, that kicked my ass. So yeah, sign me up for 5 weeks. And so the only time slot that really worked for me was on a Tuesday morning at like 8 a.m. And so I was like, I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but I found that on those Tuesdays, and I'm a pretty confident person to begin with, on those Tuesdays, I would go to the class and then like, I don't know, even just like going grocery shopping was more fun. So,
right?
Yeah. And you're right about that. It just spills over into every other area of your life. And I think there's confidence in being able to move your body. There's confidence in being able to achieve new skills. And you're right. Once you have that confidence and you feel better about yourself, then you don't compromise. Like you don't say, oh, well, let me just give in to my cravings. You're like, no, I'm worth more than that. Like I'm better than that. It's not, I don't need to do that. So kind of speaking about that, just being happy, more confident, more alive. I've done a lot of reading about stress and how stress affects us. And we've all heard that stress is that silent killer. It's, makes you add weight on and things like that. But I don't know that we all understand like that mechanism. So one of the things is if you take us back to thousands and thousands of years, we would have stress and then we would physically get rid of that stress it was the fight or flight. So now you're in this stressful situation and then you physically flee. Well, nowadays, within the past couple hundred years, our lives are pretty easy, but we're bombarded by stress, things like traffic, the news, social media, just stresses that we don't really realize are stresses, but at the end of the day, a lot of times we don't shake it off. So I felt like the pole fitness class was a really great way to kind of shake off all that stress. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. They actually did a study up north at a college, I'm not sure which one, for the kids taking a pole course and seeing the difference in their test scores. And it completely, their test scores all went up, which is
That's
interesting
awesome.
because they needed a stress relief. With the pole class, the best thing about it is people, everybody has something going on. Everyone does. And it doesn't necessarily have to affect your like personal life at home, but it might be affecting you from something that's going on around you. And we worry. A lot of women, we worry. And we overthink, which is stressful. And that can happen with anything you do too, even the fitness workout that you're doing. But with pole, we do everything we can to keep you moving the whole time. You tend to forget about anything that's happening. So that hour workout or hour and a half workout, you forget it. You just don't even think about it. And you feel so good. And then, so when it's over, your brain starts going and you're like, oh, and it's a good reality check. It's such a good reality check because you're like, I felt so good. This makes me feel so good, and it's just relief, and I need to do this more often, and changes the way that you actually look at life. And you should go about your life and go, what is more stressful in my day and what's not more stressful? Like and weigh it out. Like, do I work 10 hours and then I'm really upset at work and I can't stand it and I'm stressed, and then I have a couple hours to myself where I'm actually happy, and then I'm at home and I'm either, you're either happy or you're not. So you have to look at your life and start balancing it out, and then take those things that are negative or stressful and do your best to take that out of your life, because you don't need it. No one needs it. And just keep things that are positive.
Yeah, that's great. That That's really great, because if you think about it, a lot of times I hear this a lot. I figured out that like television was stressing me out because it's a bunch of manufactured emotions, right? And so, but you hear it, right? But you hear it all the time where somebody's like, oh, I had a rough day. Let me just go sit down and watch some TV and veg out. That's how I relax. And I think that's a lie. I don't think you're relaxing. I think that you're just perpetuating the problem. But yeah, if you hit up a pole fitness class and you go and you shake your ass with now your new girlfriends, I think that's true stress relief.
It is. You just don't care.
Yeah, you don't care. You shake it off. Cool. So we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall.
Goals, and more frequently, how to look as fit as you feel, while learning to stop chasing skinny. And you've also thought to yourselves, yeah, I do want to reach my fitness goals in a shorter, more concise way. To stop wasting my time bouncing back and forth from fitness tip to fitness tip in magazines, wasting hours researching the latest and greatest diet, only to end up looking and feeling the same way you've been looking and feeling for years. And my guess is that you've been thinking about this for a long time. Am I right? I know the feeling because I played these games too, for a very long time, in fact. I'm here to tell you this. Stop thinking and sign up for the SK FitLife Challenge, an online training, nutrition, and coaching program that will lead you through 12 weeks of step-by-step guidance to help you finally reach your goals of looking fabulous and feeling fabulous. You're going to get to free up all the headspace you've been wasting picking through random diet information being fed to you through the media and simplifying the seemingly complicated world of health. Your chances now. Do you really need more time, more information, more plans for the future? Or do you want to become that fit person today? Because the truth is this. You can be that fit person, or you can be the person that sits around thinking about becoming fitter. It's your choice. Read more magazines, blog posts, and bits and pieces on social media, or take action. Because let's face it, if you're not where you want to be, your current program is not working out for you. I want you to be successful. And why is this? Because you've already got what it takes. You've been doing the work all along. It's just been the wrong work. You have the desire, the discipline, and the potential. Now let's get you on the right track so those efforts you are already putting in can take you in the best direction possible. Join me and the hundreds of other SK FitLife clients for the 12-week online fitness challenge at skfitlife.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the Stop Chasing Skinny podcast. So we're going to keep talking about these health benefits. And I want to talk about just that little piece that we talked about with the connection with nutrition. One of the things in pole fitness that I think is super cool is that you're using your own body weight as your mechanism for getting fit and building muscles. So with that and trying to climb a pole and get around the pole and dance a little better, there are times where you may sit down and you have nutritional options that are maybe not going to be so good for your pole fitness goals. And I think that's a much better approach than going, oh, that's not good for me, I shouldn't eat it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that people may not realize as far as body weight exercises and being strong functionally.
The scale kills me. Absolutely, when I hear people jumping to the scale, because muscle is always going to weigh more than fat. And if you really want to do this, I mean, you can totally take you can weigh yourself, but don't get obsessive over it. Yeah. And just know that muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're not someone who works out in general, or you haven't been working out for a while, or it's not consistent, then people have to do their best not to judge themselves when it comes to that. Because what's going to happen is if they weigh themselves, then they start working out, they're going to weigh more because your muscle does weigh more. Yeah. And it has to eat the fat. You have to give it time to really work. It's all about measurements.
Ooh, I
really.
Like that. Yeah.
So we really focus too on worrying more about the measurements. We don't do any weighing or anything like that at the studio.
So I think that's really cool too. Whenever you get into pole fitness, that kind of your reward, because we all like to have these goals and have these rewards. And if you guys focus on measurements and things like that, like it's pretty cool because you get to buy those fun, sexy little shorts, and you can totally dance in fully clothed. That's an option too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can wear. So we have different types of classes too. So of course, the shorts and the tank top or sports bra can be needed with certain pole moves. But it depends on the classes that you want to take. We do have classes that involve having full clothes on as far as pants and everything else. So we offer something for everybody at that studio. We do cross training. We have twerk classes, and it's so much fun. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, I was so sore after our class.
Yeah.
I mean, like my abs up into my rib cage because I was physically holding my whole body up. That was was pretty tough. So if somebody's thinking about trying their very first class, how would they get started? What do they wear? What are they looking for in I'm going to get started in this?
So to get started, your very first class, we do sample classes for $15, and with that, it's an hour long, just like our regular classes, and you can wear pants in your first class. We prefer you to wear shorts, but sometimes it takes people a minute to gear up to that, and that's okay. We make it work. So in the first class, we warm you up with some cardio. We do some strength training, a little bit of flexibility in the beginning, because too much flexibility can take away your energy, actually, and the power that you're giving. So you always want to give more of that in the end. But yeah, then we do some dance moves with the pole and some pole tricks. We start you off with some level 1 pole tricks, and it's everything in our level 1 is really getting you used to the communication of understanding the instructor telling you what to do on the pole.
That's cool.
So, and around the pole, so you don't get hurt. And you're building your muscles, and the muscles that you're building in level 1, they set you up for level 2. And the muscles in level 2 set you up for level 3, and so on. So that's how we structure our classes. And so with the sample, you would come in, take a sample class. If you decided that you wanted to sign up because you absolutely loved it, then we take the $15 off of your session price at the end.
Oh, cool.
Of the sample.
Yeah. So now the purpose of wearing shorts, can you explain the purpose of why you would want us to wear shorts?
You want to wear shorts just because of the contact in the pole. So one of the things that we do is the basic climb. It's like climbing a rope, which is, it can be a nemesis for so many people. But climbing the pole, there's tricks to it, and you have to stick. Unless you're wearing some sticky pants, you just have to stick to the pole, and your skin against the pole. We have chrome poles. It's going to stick.
Yeah.
Because heat on heat. Yeah.
Yeah. So then as far as the shoes, because if you just Google pole fitness, you see these gigantic boots and shoes and heels and things like that. How do you start somebody out in pole as far as the footwear goes?
This is different at every studio. For our studio, we do not start you off in heels. Heels are optional, but we don't start you off. We tell you to just do sneakers or bare feet your first class to see how it goes with that, and then you can make that judgment on the heels. We do cater our third weeks. We have 5-week sessions. Our third week is sensual heels week. It's sensuality week. So we cater that week to heels for
That's
everybody who loves heels and all that stuff. But yeah, so our warm-up and everything will involve the heels. And, if you have never tried working out in heels, it actually is amazing. It's worth trying and experiencing, even if it's not something you want to do all the time. That's why we do it on our third week.
That's really cool. I know I was not big on heels. I was definitely more like Sporty Spice, the athlete. And I started doing the fitness competitions where my posing was more like pageanty, and it was required to be done in heels. And so I had to learn that skill from the beginning. And what was really cool was that once I learned that in my sport, I was able to translate it into my life. And so even though I still don't put on heels a ton, now when I do, at least I know what I'm doing in them. And I feel so much more confident in moving. So, yeah, that's really cool for professionals who, or actually for anybody, not just professionals, because, you know, especially like friends who are stay-at-home moms and they're like, heels, you know, they put them on occasionally, but once you take a pole fitness class and you're more comfortable in those heels, you just feel like a rock star.
Yeah, and the dancer stilettos, and they're different than regular stilettos you would go get at your local mall. They're made to dance in. They're platformed. They're actually more comfortable. You have no choice but to walk on your toe, depending on the size of the heel, and walking on the toe is key. So
that's cool.
It does make it a lot easier.
That's really cool. Easier. Yeah. All these things you don't know about pole fitness. Well, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Stop Chasing Skinny podcast, where we have Tanya Christopher, the owner of Amorous Dance and Pole Fitness here in Charleston. So let's talk a little bit. I have a lot of listeners who maybe don't live here in Charleston. So let's talk about if somebody were going to visit, what are some things that you would like if somebody said, hey, I'm visiting Charleston, I want to visit your studio, what would you recommend for them?
I recommend them just coming and taking a sample class. For sure. If they have experience, though, if they've been at another studio or they've taken classes for a while, then I would do an evaluation with them. So they would come in. I would just evaluate them for about really 20, it would take 20 to 30 minutes, really, for them to be there. And so they would come in, show me what they can do. They'd warm up and do their paperwork. So after that, I would decide what level is best for them at the studio, so they don't have to start at the beginning if they've already had experience.
Yeah.
So then I actually will give them their sample class or their drop-in. We do drop-ins for $25 in one of the other classes if they already have experience. And we have privates as well.
Oh, that's really cool. So you can do a private lesson with them?
Yes.
Cool.
We have 90-minute privates.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So for people who do live here, what are some fun things that you guys do there? Like, do you do bachelorette parties? Do you do birthday parties? Do you do holiday stuff? Like, what do you guys do over there?
Yeah, we do any kind of party you can think of. We do in the studio. We don't travel out of the studio unless it's for an event, some kind of an event where they want us to promote, and that's it. But we don't do anything at people's houses. But for parties, we do everything in-house. So we do bachelorette parties, birthday parties, divorce parties, and we do have divorce parties. Girl night out. Yeah, girl night outs and all that stuff. And for that, it's $125 to reserve the studio, and then it's $15 a person after that. And whoever the party's for, the $15's included in the $125. And we have 10 poles at the studio, so there's plenty of space. We don't share poles in our regular classes, but for parties we do, so we can have more than the average with a party.
Oh, that's cool. And how long does the party last?
The party it's 90 minutes.
Okay.
And sometimes we go over because the parties are so much fun. They're fun and they're different.
That's cool.
If we go over, we'll go over like 15 minutes. So I always tell people, I'm like, if you have any reservation after your party, just go ahead and give us an hour and 45 minutes. Just make it an hour 45 just to be safe.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. So, as far as as somebody's progressing, what I know there's pole fitness competition stuff out there. What is that all about? How does that work?
Oh yeah, we have pole competitions with our studio. I always ask my girls and men, because we had a man compete last year and he did very well.
Awesome.
I always ask, like, who wants to compete, who's interested. It's not anything that anyone has to do. So we have people who sign up to do it. And then we have our competitions mainly. They're locally around as far as states go. So Atlanta was our last one. We're going to Atlanta again in June. Yeah, so with that, I mean, they have different levels and different elements and different things that are required. It's at the Atlanta, the convention center, the Atlanta Convention Center, the Georgia Dome.
Oh, cool.
Right there. I mean, they have their levels and stuff, and you get promoted to the next level. If you if you get within the first 3, then you move up to the next level. As far as competition wise go, and we had 2 people last year become pro.
Ooh.
So yeah, and it's so exciting. It's so much fun. It's a whole different world. It never ends. Ever. There's always something new to do when it comes to pole. There's new tricks, new combos, new events to go to, and workshops, and I mean, it's like everything on it. It just never ends. There really is something you can always do, and it's for every age. That is the best part about it. My oldest client was 75 years old, and she was with me for quite a while. And so my clients, they range from, well, I have vertical kids now, so they range from very young, but at my adult classes, they are 18 through, right now it's like 65.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I have to say, the one class I took, there was somebody who was 77 or 78 in there, and I was just, I was blown away by that. And she was like, really good. Yeah. So
they are impressive, right?
Super impressive. It gives you.
I'm blaming the hot pockets. That's what I think. The hot pockets have ruined us youngins. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it's seriously just so cool. Like, and let's talk a little bit about the demographic of the women who make up and I know, yes, there's a couple guys, but the demographic for the women that make up your studio, because when I first started doing fitness competitions, from the outside, you might look at that and go, oh, it's like pageanty. It might be catty. It's very, appearance based and driven. But I met some of my best, most down to earth female friends in that sport. So tell me about the pole fitness demographic. What kind of women do you have?
I have every single type of woman you can think of. And it's so cool because they are friends. They become friends from the studio. I have so many people from the hospital, for one.
Cool.
I have veterinarians. I have doctors, lawyers. I mean, the list goes on. Just everyday people. And people who work in restaurants, just people who own restaurants. I mean, it's just people who are just in school. It's crazy the way that it all works out. And life really is about who you know. And I love seeing the friendships develop in the studio and the opportunities for different people, because they love helping each other. And everybody who comes to the studio, I mean, they're just so beautiful, just inside and out. They're genuine. When you meet people like that and you share that bond with somebody else, you just open the door to a better life, no matter what. Just with anything that you do, you might be in the same profession, and you end up helping each other out with something, and it's really beautiful. It's the coolest thing to see. When the girls are all in there and they're just chatting it up,
Yeah, and you get so many. I mean, you hear it in a lot of the studies, and they're like, oh, the people who have the best life, best quality of life, longest life, that kind of thing, they have the best social networks. And I feel like, especially, well, I guess it's hard for men too, but definitely women, when you get out of school, how do you make friends? And then especially like I work from home, and a lot of my girlfriends work from home. And so when you're doing stuff like that and you're not, or you work in a male dominated field, which I did for a long time, you maybe don't have as much exposure to some potential girlfriends. So I feel like it's just, when you meet somebody in a place like that, it's just cool. Like you're kind of instant friends because you're a little bit the same kind of crazy, right? crazy in a good way.
Yeah, and no one, and it's not like we don't talk about what anyone else does. And there's, as far as people's professions go and what they do, it's not something that's discussed, unless they want to discuss it with each other.
Yeah.
So it's really like people, they just bond because they like each other.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment. There's no business card really handing out. We have a business card section where people can leave their cards, but it's not, you really do. You get to know each other and you like that person no matter what for who they are.
That is so cool. Well, I think there's so much health benefit to that people don't, it's not the calories in, calories out on just about every single thing we talked about on this show. So, well, thank you so much for being my guest. Can you tell the audience real quick how to get in touch with you? And we will put this contact information in the show notes.
Yeah. So my name is Tanya Christopher, the owner of Amorous Dance, Pole, and Fitness. And you can contact me at the studio at 843-819-3482, or you can email me at amoroussdancepoleandfitness@gmail.com. You can go to our website. The website is poleandfitness.com. And so we have a contact sheet on there as well. We also have a Vertical Kids website, and that's spelled with a Z, not with a S, so verticalkids.com. And I believe that is it.
That is so awesome. And I have to say, in addition to yourself, you have the sweetest fitness instructors there. So you guys are just the total package. And
we don't hire just anybody. We don't hire just anybody. So they definitely are the best.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, totally. And I have to say a big congratulations for being on the cover of this issue of Oblique magazine. So we're going to put that in the show notes too. Those are your sexy abs. Thank you to Pole Fitness.
Yay! Right?
That's awesome. Well, thanks again. And listener, I highly, highly recommend this studio.
Thank you.
Take care.